All right, Investor Central. Welcome, YouTube. This is Eric here with Investor Central Club, STAX AI software. And we want to go over our monthly backtesting for you guys, go over all the numbers, go over our new prints, see what new highs have been made for some of the previous option prints. And so, every single month I spend some time go through these. Actually, I have to go through them manually to check. So without further ado, let's get into it. Just a quick little review of what's come up over this last month. As you can see, from the beginning of October till today is November the 5th, Election Day. Hope you guys go out there and exercise your right to vote. What we're going to go over today are the review of this last month's prints, as well as the updates for previous months as well. So, as you can see, what we have over here is our export of all that data, and I've gone through and checked all of the prints that we have, not only from last month, but from the very beginning of when we first released STAX AI. Quick little review of some of the colors that I have on here. If it's in this light blue, what that means is it's a updated situation for the spreadsheet. So obviously all the new prints for this month, alongside with the prints that we see here for everything on the right. Now I will point out I have a couple of these in light yellow. The reason being that during the newer months when we get these prints in, sometimes they don't really have much time for them to move, or if they have moved, they might have moved a little bit up and then drop back down below. So as much as these are still considered wins, I kind of want to make sure that we understand the context as to what's going on. For example, we got 4 of these ARM calls for April of next year, 190 calls, and they spent $17.20 per option, so $1,720 per option, and they have spent, if you can see over here, close to $5 million, just a little bit under. As a result, though, we do want to understand it did move up just a little bit. It moved up about $1.20 per, per option right here, or $120 per option. However, that's only about a 7% return. And when you do look at these right now, so for example, this spark line right here shows from when that option was purchased to where the price is right now in terms of the equity. It dropped from 155 down to 140. So these options right now are actually looking at, last I looked, they were worth about $10 each. So meaning that they've lost $700, almost close to 40, almost 50% of that value. However, I do want to point out that there are a lot of our prints that we've seen in STAX AI that have some, certain behaviors like this. They drop a little bit in the beginning. What's always important is to kind of get an idea of how much time they've purchased. They've got about 6 months for this. And if you do understand, ARM does report their earnings tomorrow. So it'd be very interesting to see what happens with it. The other ones that we have here, the ones that I do have actually highlighted in blue, these I've all moved at least 10%. This one here, XLE right here, went up a little bit. It's dropped back down almost over 50% at this point for this one. And Google right here, during their earnings, has dropped quite significantly, or not significantly, I would say, for that big of a stock. They did drop about $6 or $7 from where their spot price is. So these ones are actually looking, they're down at this point. But for the sake of our back testing, what we're focused on is to compare where the highs were. Now, I do want to make sure that you understand I have put these in yellow for us to keep an eye on for the upcoming tests, back tests as well. EOSE, this one did report its earnings today. So far, it looks like it's down a little bit. It dropped to $2 and I want to say 80 cents as of this recording. But EOSE, it's an energy company, did come out with some new news about how they have a new partnership. Let me double check this real quick. They have a agreement with the city utilities of Springfield, Missouri to provide energy storage for them. And so what I do want to point out is a lot of times we have this theory behind our STAX AI software of how there's always somebody that knows information that you and I don't. And STAX is always trying to listen in by using the dark pool option flow for us and determining whether or not there are some extremely unusual situations that we might want to keep an eye on. We will see where this opens up when market opens tomorrow, but I do want to point out that they've purchased over a year of time. So November 21st of 2025, my belief is that they knew that this deal with the city was coming, and that over time this will be worth well over $3.50. They're aiming for $5 and higher. So that one's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on. MU, I do believe this one's down a little bit as well. But again, they've got some time. They've got till March. It did go as high as 25%, up to $5. CNX over here was an earnings play. Earnings did cause it to pop up quite a bit, up over 60%. NVIDIA, you've got a couple of these. I do want to point out it is up as of now. It is reaching all-time highs again. And they did just get added to the Dow Jones. So that was a 40, almost 50% play right there. NMRA, let's go back to STAX. NMRA actually just had another one pop up earlier today on the 5th. I'm glad that we got a chance, that I was able to record this today. Another $2.2 million purchased for that stock and for that option. And you'll take a look at it there. This gives me some decent confidence that NMRA is headed further up, but keep in mind they do have till the beginning of 2025. So, keep an eye on this one. It is expected that it should head back toward 15 quite soon. All right. Now back to our back test, CLMT. They had some news that caused them to pop quite a bit as well. X, which is a steel company, that one's gone up only about 11%. So this one's definitely worth keeping an eye on. They have till the end of 2025. So far for the month over here, the month of October, if you count Google here as a miss, everything else has gone higher since the print. We have 17 out of our 18 total prints for the month of October. That's a hit rate of 94.44%. On average, these are returning 27.85% if you time them to the highs. Now, obviously, I will point out it's extremely hard to time the market and time to the highs. What we do suggest is that once your option has hit a certain profit target, a certain percentage, usually some people are aiming for 25-30%, set your stop losses, take your profits, especially if it does go much higher than that. It's definitely worth taking your profits at them. STAX AI if you do want to leave a runner for those couple situations where they do end up continuing to go higher and higher, that is a great strategy to go with. But keep in mind, there are some of these that will pop up high and then they will start to retrace and start to come back from. So it's up to you to make sure that you manage your risk, that you take care of that portfolio. This is, some of our traders do a set it and leave it, where they purchase the option, they set their stop loss and take profit, and they just let STAX AI do its work. It's been quite useful for some of our traders, especially those ones that follow us in the Discord as well. Now let's go take a look at previous months. If we take a look at September, what we do have here, we do have a couple of these that have gone higher. If I put a 1 on the side right here, it helps me calculate the total number of updated prints. So for the months before October, we have a total of 35 of these that did go higher. For example, United Airlines had their earnings. This one's looking at a 479% return after 25 days. MSTR MicroStrategy, this one has continued to go higher. This one's pretty crazy too. $41, so $4,000, $4,100 for this option. Now is looking at over 10K per option here. Pretty crazy returns, 171%. XLF, the energy or the financial sector ETF, has also gone up 116%. This one, ARM, gives me kind of a feeling that the one that we see for earnings, this may be an earnings play. This may just be a long-term outlook type of play that they have. We will see on Wednesday after earnings what is going on, but this does give it quite some bullish sentiment in our opinion. And after seeing how STAX does work out, that would be what my guess would be for ARM. They spent quite a bit of premium on this. So far, it's only up about 17%, so we'll see. And from where they entered, you need to understand the spot price here is what they entered at. So they entered ARM at 146. Right now it's down to 140. So you may be able to get into some of these for a little bit cheaper at this point. I know a lot of people got into SLB last month. Saw quite some awesome 40-50% returns for that. QQQ, Nvidia, you can understand Nvidia continues to go higher. This one, they got in at 114, now is at almost 140. Delta Airlines, this one was a good one too. We had seen a couple of additional Delta Airline prints from previous months, and this one looking at 165% return after their earnings. Silver, this one they purchased quite some time for. I do know in our Discord some of our traders sometimes will take a shorter expiration or a lower strike price, and as a result be able to get into a different contract price. There were some SLV players, some of them that got, I would say, about 50 to 60% return on this. This one is a fairly cheap contract, 16 cents each up to 24, but that's still a 50% return. CARR, well, I need to double check my notes. I do believe they had some sort of earnings that caused the pop, 135%. Some sort of news that caused this. Just like I said, reminder, when you take a look at these STAX AI prints, consider what's coming up. Is there potential earnings right around the corner that they've bought enough time to hold through? And also keep an eye out, is there news that's coming? When news does come out, is it usually positive news that they've purchased alongside with because they happen to know something? So last month we have 11 out of 11, 100% hit rate with these returns right here averaging 134%. So you can imagine in less than 30 days in most of these, you're able to average quite a big return on any of these STAX AI plays. Let's look a little bit further back. CEG had some great news as well. This one popped, went from $10.70 up to $66. So 1K turned into 6.6K, 522% over the course of 33 days. MU, this Micron Technologies, this one only went up about 12%. But again, this one's gone a little bit higher. There are quite a few people I know right now, due to this recent MU print, are holding on to it, and again, they do have some time in terms of this AI print for information and for more earnings to come out. Gold, Tesla, okay, ANET right here also went up $23 per contract, up to 60, or 23 per 100 options if you want, 23 per share. 159% return over 47 days. So now our 6 of 6 for the month of August, 100% hit rate, 143% return. You can notice just the last 3 months before October, we've had some pretty high average returns. The only miss we've had over the last 3 months, if you're not looking at October, last 3 months before October, the only miss right now is Microsoft. Microsoft did drop quite a bit after their earnings, but this one does have till the end of 2026. Very possible that over time this will continue to go higher. DAL, just like I mentioned, Delta Airlines, along with the one that came in September, These ones are looking at some pretty awesome returns, 500 and 291%. So the average return on these from July, 220% average return with a hit rate of 80%. Now you'll notice a few of these prints I have in yellow right now. That's simply due to the fact that since NVIDIA has split, we're not getting complete accurate values for what price they are at. We can kind of make a we can make an estimate for them. Most of these I have not actually updated since they went since these dates in here. So you can notice since June I haven't updated these simply because they have, since the split, it's been hard to give an exact value. But with NVIDIA approaching all-time highs, and these ones very likely are close to, these ones at least are close to or in the money, we can at least make some estimates as to where they are. So these returns for NVIDIA in this yellow may be a bit higher than what they currently show. In the month of May, let's do our June real quick. June, 3 out of our 4. This NVIDIA technically is still a miss. I do need to, let's take a quick look here. This one should 265. No, I do believe that this one is just about coming back. So it's not quite at the price that we want. Let's take a quick look over here. Yeah, 231 with the highs being 335. So this NVIDIA one still hasn't come quite back all the way just yet. If you go take a look further back here, 405, 435, let's double check where the highs were. Yeah, so you can see NVIDIA is a little bit hard to evaluate due to the fact that these, due to the split, we have to consider the 10-for-1 share price. 3 out of 4 for this one. I do expect, especially this one with NVIDIA being in the middle of next year, still has some time to reach further highs if possible. So this was a lower return month, but hey, if you're getting 65% return in a month, I doubt that you're angry about that. 3 out of 4, so 75% for that month. We do have an update, this W here for the month of May. This Delta Airlines was down a little bit, but now came back, return of 59% at the end of October. So you can imagine this one took 117 days for it to reach its high. VST was already a win, but did go higher, now at 211%. 16 out of 16 for month of May. 171% returns for those on average when you consider the highs. United Airlines here, 377% is the one update from the month of April. 38 out of 40. These ones will not, the hit rate's not going to go higher for this one because these have already expired. This was one of the weeks where we saw quite a bit of weeklies and very short-term expirations that STAX AI shouted out. And you'll notice that out of all of these, out of all the short-term ones, there are 33 short-term, either weeklies or up to the next week. They did average quite a bit in terms of 30, 40, 50% returns over the course of the week. There were a few lower ones with just a little bit. So my suggestion, especially if we do happen to see this situation come up again, definitely take it with a grain of salt. There are generally going to be a lot more of these ETFs that are being traded during these situations. And this was one of the few situations where we've seen all these puts being bought up. And you'll also notice that price for the indices did drop quite a bit in that time. This one's also very interesting. Peloton. Peloton now is over 191% return. They got in at in March of this year, and it was just last month, end of last month, where it started to pop, started to return back to and break out of the lows that it's at. CLS is also another update here, 183% return now. If you take a look at March, March was one of our months where we actually had quite a few misses, 26 out of 32. but we still have a few of these here that are still making new highs. AXP, UNH, NEM, and on average for these, we're getting an average of 155% return. Yes, there are some misses in here, but these wins are pretty extensive wins. Meta, I think, is one of the main ones that has continued to create higher highs. These ones 90%, 59%, NCLH, and VST. APO as well. If you take a look at VST right here, 1,300% return. Pretty crazy. Over a course of 165 days, though. Meta, you'll see, and AXP. So those ones definitely you'll see have some pretty big returns. 41 out of 44 for the month of February. Hit rate still a 93.18%. On average, 167% return. BABA, during that crazy China run-up, we did also notice this one jumped quite a bit, 358% over 220 days. So the month of December was when we released 12 out of 12. That's now it's been 100% hit rate with a 393% highs on the return for these. Now you can take a look at the leftover here for some of these where you may notice they may have hit their highs, and I do have the date of those highs already tracked in here as well. So make sure that you take a look at those. Understand they may hit those highs and start to come back, so it's up to you to make sure that you manage your risk in those situations. These ones from previous months, this was for our personal back testing. These were available for you guys to see after the fact, after we had released on December 1st. But you can see in here AXP as one of the ones from last October, 254 days before it hit its high of 1,172% return. So with that being said, we have a total here of 210 out of 225 of our prints that have become winners. All the percentage hit rates for each month, along with the average percent return of each month as well. I've also calculated the average days to the high. You'll obviously notice the most recent months have lower numbers than the ones further back. Hit rate 93%, highs on average on 161% with an average of 54 days to hit their highs. All right, I know today's was a little bit longer than usual, but I want to make sure that we get all that information for you guys. The month of October is now over. You can expect that in November we'll be back here with you guys doing another back testing. And actually our November back test will be our full year back test to our anniversary of our STAX release, which was December 1st of last year. So I'm excited to be able to do that for you guys. We'll take a look at what continues to come out. All I need to double check here. BABA here actually was a win here. So far for the month of November, if you don't count the NMRA one that came in today, because that one's probably hasn't moved much yet, we're 1 of 1 so far. Just keep an eye on that. Keep an eye out for your STAX AI prints. Hope you guys enjoy this back testing. Please go ahead, leave a comment, any questions, and if you do want, you can always message us and send an email over to help@investorcentralclub.com. Let us know what you guys think. If you want to sign up for STAX and STAX AI, you can go ahead and do that at our website, investorcentralclub.com/memberships, and go ahead and get yourself a subscription to our software. That being said, this is Eric here with STAX AI Investor Central Club. Very happy to be able to do this for you guys. I will see you guys next month for the next back testing. See you then.